Hello, welcome to a episode of live painting demonstration. My name is Lisa Gloria, and today I'm going to be working on a still life of a nice cup of tea and some lemon slices positioned on a doily with some dramatic lighting. If you enjoy this video, please click like and subscribe and turn on notifications. I upload videos at least once a week, sometimes more. So what we're doing first is I'll tell you the materials that I'm using. This is a ampersand panel. I like them because they're easy to frame, they stay flat, and they come kind of ready to paint on, but I usually prep the surface anyway. So what I've done to the panel is I've laid out a thin coating of regular acrylic gesso, and then over that a very thin coating of burnt umber, which is dried. So I've pre-toned it. And the reason that I pre-toned is because I want to make sure that my values are going to get as dark as I want them to. So this kind of gives me a little head start with that. And then I use the gesso because it'll give me a slightly more open surface and let my first layers adhere better. So I can do thin first layer and I can get another layer on top of that, hopefully in some ways almost 3 layers. So I can get most of the effects that I like in a multi-session painting, but in an Alla Prima painting. This will be a little bit looser than what I consider, my gallery works, which are done over multiple sessions, but it has its own kind of zing too. Today I'm using titanium white, cadmium yellow, the light kind of green version, yellow ochre, brown pink, alizarin crimson, ultramarine blue, sap green, and ivory black. Sap green, you don't really need sap green, but I like having it around. It's transparent, it's handy. So the first thing that I want to do is kind of get a general idea of what I'm going to be painting here. The composition, I've shown a picture of it by now in this video, I'm sure, is, well, let me talk about Alla Prima compositions for a second. I want something that is going to grab ya, so I stick with simple compositions with a wide variety of contrast, right? As opposed to something that's extremely subtle or extremely detailed. I really just want something that's gonna punch you right in the face. Subtlety in Alla Prima would be very, very difficult. Some people can manage it. I think that the beauty of this technique is partially in its robustness. So I also want a robust composition. The first thing I want to do is I'm looking at my still life and I am thinking of how I'm going to lay it in here. I'm going to just start laying in a few lines. And I've got some Gamsol. I'm going to make myself a brown using brown pink and ultramarine blue. If you don't have brown pink, you can use a dark transparent burnt sienna. So, you know that rule of thirds. Let's talk about that for a second. So you've got like a third and a third and a third and a third, and then you get these boop, 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 boop. You get these 4 points. So you want your focal object to be on one of those 4 points, and that will be a strong composition. Well, that'll be a strong focal object. So I want to see, I'm going to put my focal point here. That seems about right, doesn't it? In the tab, the cup. Okay, I got some shapes here. I want to be able to see. I put some dried citrus leaves around it. Gradually over time, I've done more and more complicated Alla Prima compositions. You know, it used to kind of favor the single object of unbelievable beauty, and now I kind of like the tableau. So I want to see if I can pull this off in a reasonable period of time. I'm going to give myself about 2 hours on this. Feeling it? Okay. Yeah, I think that's not bad. So my darks are going to be all in here, here, and then one circle there. That's nice. Thinking about the notan, or the distribution of light and dark. So this is going to be dark. Oops, is that right? Oh, more like this. Dark, dark, middle, a little bit of light, a little bit of light. Another rule that I like to follow with the notan, distribution of light and darks, is the 70-20-10 rule. So light, middle, dark, one of them should be 70% of your composition, one of them should be 20%, and one of them should be 10. In this case, I'm thinking really we've got more like, we've got the 10 because the light values are here and here and here. But I think that the darks, maybe not quite 70%, maybe more like 60%, but that should still be pretty darn strong. So, okay. I'm going to give myself a larger, this is a flat. The numbers have worn off, so I don't know what size it is. It's flat, is about a 1/2 inch. How about that? And adding in a little bit of yellow ochre and a little bit of brown pink. Way too much brown pink. I want to get my lights and my darks in during this block in right away, because those will be kind of my bookends, my anchor points. We're going to go cool lights, warm darks. Yeah? Let me think there. Too dark. Warm this baby up. And I'm going to use a little bit of solvent. Okay. I'm squinting, just trying to see, where am I here? That's me cleaning my brush. You know what? Never mind. I'm going to get a different brush. I like to use separate brushes instead of cleaning in between, because it just isn't the same. There's my yellow. A little bit of red in there. I'm sorry, this is brown pink, not red. Boy, and I just keep doing that. I keep grabbing too much. What have I got here? Yes. The inside, or the flesh of the lemon, is a really like a high chroma brown. And I want to leave it on the warm side. There we go. Let's get some background in here. Those are my lights. Now I'm going to go usually I would just move to a different part of my palette, but then you wouldn't see what I was doing. So brown pink, ultramarine blue, black. I want a dark, rich blue for the background, and instead of adding solvent, I'm going to add walnut oil. So what I want to be able to do is throw this in here and then kind of just leave it alone. You know what I mean? I want it to be loose and washy, but also the correct amount of depth and low value. More paint. More oil. That's great. See how this nice smooth panel, the paint just kind of glides onto it. It's great. Now the wood of the table, I'm going to start with my blue here and add the brown pink to give myself a very, very rich brown. And hopefully there won't be a huge difference. Yeah, good. I want just two dark values to be right next to each other, not giving me a big distinction between the tapestry color in the background and the actual dark wood of the sideboard. You know, I want them to meld together a little bit. Okay, at this upper edge, be a little bit more careful so that I'm also describing the back edge of the lace. in the teacup. Okay, I'm going to run across that line to soften it. I might do more with that later, I'm not sure. Edge of the lace. And then the front edge of the lace. I hope you're all enjoying these videos. Please click like and subscribe and notifications. Turn that bell on so you'll get the new ones every time they get posted. See, that's cool. That's what I wanted. Wouldn't want you to miss anything. Real quick, so let me talk about lace for just a hot second here. There are a couple of different ways of approaching painting lace, and one of them is to paint the thing underneath it and then paint the lace over it. In Alla Prima, we're not going to be able to do that completely because it's crocheted and it would take quite a lot to paint every thread. But what I can do, what I can get accomplished, is to paint, you know, when you squint down, what do you really see of the details? And what I see is these, you know, diamond patterns. Are they here? These like crisscrosses, you know? And so I can kind of indicate where that's going to be. And then I'll strengthen that at a later point in the composition. But for right now, let's just make sure that there is some indication here. You know what's really funny is every once in a while, so I go on Facebook and I'm in some of these art groups, and some of them have more advanced members and some of them have more beginner members. And I love them because that's how I learned how to paint, was by being in forums and things like that online and listening to people talk about art and getting critiqued and kind of rudely critiqued, as the internet is likely to give you. Ooh, I like that. Anyway, what I was going to say was that it strikes me as amusing, I guess, that the same questions get asked all the time. And one of the questions that gets asked all the time is, do I have to learn how to draw? Which I find so amusing. Do you have to learn how to draw when there are so many tools available to help you not learn how to draw, like projectors and things like that? And my opinion is, of course, you have to learn how to draw. you can't just you can't just project things and assume that you understand them. And the process of painting is about understanding and analyzing your subject and then figuring out how to replicate that in oil, right? So if you don't know how, if you're just skipping a step, you're skipping like a whole chunk of knowledge. But if you want to paint like this, if you want to paint Alla Prima, you definitely have to know how to draw. Not just how to lay something out with accurate proportions, which is very, very important, but also how to think about things in terms of value, in terms of dark to light. You know what? I'm going to lay in this spoon a little bit. Quite a dark brown. I leave my palette exposed here so that you can see what colors I'm mixing together, even if I forget to name the pigments explicitly. Okay. I want some middle values here. Middle value for the teacup can be a warm gray. Yeah, I just tested it out there and it's not the hue that I want. It's too cool. So let's try again here. That's better. I think a little bit more yellow ochre. And this is added to Gamsol. I'm not going to paint the design on the teacup until much, much later. Just so you know. Okay. bottom edge of the shadow here, cast shadow from the lemons to the cup. It's such a nice, rich, warm color. And then when I get to, okay, so the shadow under the spoon is going to be pretty dark. And then over here, there's a little lip of the saucer that's catching a bunch of reflected light. See? There we go. Great. Now, as for the tea itself, which if you're wondering is Yorkshire tea. I love tea, kind of a tea person. I'm gonna say brown pink, ultramarine blue, a little bit of oil. And just a nice rich color. And by using this here, now I'm gonna carve out the upper lip of the teacup. Cleaning my brush between strokes here to make sure I'm not picking up too much. Over on this side, it gets a little bit lighter. I'm going to add in a little bit of yellow ochre for the top edge. Okay, leave that alone for now. In the back, I've got a lemon in shadow. I want to make sure that I don't go, again, this is really important to me to make sure that my rich colors stay rich. So, because I don't want to put them in and then have to tiptoe down to the value that I think is correct. Let's see. is much easier if I just kind of aim right for it. Okay, now what I want to see is a middle value for the tablecloth, which is going to need to be a little bit cooler than the teacup, even though they're kind of in the same value ranges. There, that's cooler. I'm gonna start with the shadows. Okay. I'm going to paint loosely around the design. In this way, I'm doing the drawing without, doing the drawing. And yeah, I'm going to spoon knock off that side. Yeah, let's go ahead and do this. This makes sense to me. Let's do the middle tones first, and then we can lay the lights in over this. Feel me? I know you do. Since there's this like diamond pattern here, detail, I'm kind of smooshing it out in the middle to leave the diamond and then not have it in my way here. So not only am I painting in the middle value of the doily, I am also refining the shape of the details. Clever, right? Double duty. I wish I had mixed up more paint, but I didn't. Nope, that's too late now. One sec, I'm gonna get closer to the actual value that I want. Okay. We're getting close to being done with the blocking. You may be wondering why I'm not using like a gigantic brush, and it's because I want to be able to do just a little bit of detail work, just a little, not a lot, just a little bit of detail work. As I'm putting things in, because that will save me some time later. And even though the giant brush is helpful for the way that you think about things, thinking about large forms and not getting too precious, I remind myself that in other ways. That's the excuse. That is my story, and that is what I'm sticking to. Definitely sticking to that story. So there. All right. There we go. Now I want to just block in these leafy shapes. I've been blocking the leaves a little bit darker than they actually are. I just keep picking up way too much brown pink. Because I want my shadows to be transparent, and then the light part of the leaves will float over that. I find that sap green and alizarin crimson makes a beautiful, rich dark, don't you? There we go. This still has a little bit of oil in it, like I said. So here we've got one here that kind of comes over the spoon, over the lemon in the background. We've got one here. Nice, okay. Alrighty. That is 45 minutes of a block in right there. And let me see if I can adjust the color here a little bit. Whoops. No. Hold on. There we go. Okay. Sorry about that. This is the first stage. I'm pretty happy with it. I kept my lights here and here. And I established the composition, my overall notan, without getting fussy, staying nice and loose. I mean, you really can't ask a lot more from a blocking than that. So in the next stage, we'll be going on to refining. But first, I'm gonna go have a cup of tea myself because I really need to stand back and take a gander at what I've put down so far. All right, I'll be right back. You'll hardly even notice I'm gone. Hey there, I'm back. So now that I've got this black in, I can start getting serious about what's going on here and slow down a little bit and really, focus on what needs to be done. So what I'm going to do is, starting with my focal point, teacup, I'm just going to begin really drilling down and looking at what's going on in order to refine this shape. So I'm also going to switch to, and I might not stick with it, but I'm going to switch to my Rosemary Company Mongoose because it gives it that calligraphy-like look. Each brush is good for its own stuff. And these have a very unique expression of when they lay the paint down. Now you notice that I am kind of painting at a more oblique angle, a little bit closer to parallel to the painting surface. That's going to deposit more paint. When I get down here to the bottom edge, sorry, more paper towel. When I get down to the bottom edge, I realize that I am also drawing the lip of the teacup. So let's make sure that's really what's going on. You'll notice that most of my palette is transparent colors, with the exception of yellow ochre and titanium white. Those those colors are my lights. Oh, and of course the cadmium yellow. Those are my lights. I want them to sit on top so they are more opaque. And then for my darks, I want them to have a lot of depth, and so they are transparent. An alizarin. See, when you really look at this, when you look at the color of the tea, it changes so many times. Left to right, top to bottom. There's even a tiny little reflection of the lip of the glass in here. Cup, not glass. I'm gonna get that in there. Oh, yes. Very good. I'm using a light touch with this brush. What's important to me is that the gradation is smooth and the values get to where they are supposed to get to. I realize I've said this several times so far today, but my biggest challenge learning how to paint this way was seeing and depositing the correct value of paint. In other words, I was a bit of a chicken. But now that I know how important it is, I'm much more brave. The top edge here is a little softer. Now, you see me, I'm not blending like this, but I do soften by kind of tapping the bristles against the surface here. And then this is a little darker over here. There. That's nice. Teacup has a gold line. I think that this is a good idea. We'll see in a second. Oops. This is a silicone shaper. And I'm going to draw my line in here. So that when I lay the paint in, I'm not fighting against the paint that I already laid in. Let's hope that's a good idea, because I don't edit out my errors on this, so if it doesn't work, you guys are gonna know. Now, since I have a blank space there, I can draw a line in. I'm going to use yellow ochre and brown pink. since I have a space here, it's easier for me to lay the line in without picking up too much of the color around it. Let's make this darker. This is a Chinese squirrel calligraphy brush. Comes to a beautiful point. Come on, you. Now, if this line is not in the right space, the thing that I do next is going to fix it. And one of the things that I'm doing is every time I do something, I think about what I need to do right after it and whether what I'm doing is helping or hurting. It's like chess, you have to consider your moves in advance. Okay. Is that the right shape? Kinda. I'm gonna start on the dark side. Way too much blue. Just refining, just looking, analyzing. Stare, analyze. It's funny because my kids accuse me of staring. That I am one of those people who, if I'm talking to you, there's a good chance that I'm gonna like just kind of stare at you like I have no social skills at all. Sorry. But it's because I'm trying to figure out, what colors I'm seeing in the light on your face. That's my job. So it kind of takes over. Yes. See a little bit of this front rim. Now, hopefully, I put a picture of the completed painting at the beginning of this video so you all can see how it turns out. You don't have to wonder all the way through whether or not it's ever going to look like what it's supposed to look like. Know what I mean? I'm going to stand up in a second here and make sure that my ellipses are actually being elliptical. I feel like the back of this is just a little bit lighter. Yeah. Coming along. Since I'm recording, I sit at a drafting table so that I can show you the palette and the painting at the same time. I find that to be extremely helpful. And then the camera is between me and the painting. So everything's at kind of a little bit strange angle. So I'm gonna have to stand up as soon as this is all drawn in and make sure that nothing got wonky. Back in the back there, you can see that there's a little bit of the ground, the burnt umber ground that I put in before I started painting. A little bit of that back there, and that almost acts like light coming through, and I just love this. I love that effect. Soften this up a little bit. Hello, sweetie. Getting there. Now this should be symmetrical for sure. And if it's not symmetrical, you know, you ask yourself, well, okay, is it too low on one side, too high on the other side, or whatever. Even though this is just the very, very beginning of what we're doing here, already kind of getting jazzed about it. That's how I am. I'm going to switch brushes for the light side so I can keep my mixtures as clean as possible. Here we go. White, yellow ochre, ultramarine blue, brown pink, I'm not going for the lightest light yet. It's a little too light. There we go. Let's try this. I want to keep the back edge of the teacup soft so that it recedes. If that edge is too hard, you won't have a forward edge and a back edge. You'll have sort of a flat oval. That's not what I want at all. Again, you notice that I'm not like blending, because the action of painting will will blend eventually everything anyway. I feel like that line is not in the right place there. Let's move it. Like I can physically move it. They're using the brush not just to deposit shape, not just to deposit paint rather, but also to shape the paint that's here by kind of squeegeeing it into a different location. Okay, I want to soften this edge for sure. What do you think? Close, right? Let's see a little bit more halftone. Okay. Good. And even though the line is a detail, I might come back to that, you know, at the very end of the painting. Okay, I'm seeing just a tiny bit of blue here, a little shift there. You'll notice that every time that you add a hue, that you introduce a hue, that it's sort of like flipping dominoes, that the rest of the painting sort of will come alive because you just activated it. You know, you activated another way of perceiving the color by changing the context. Now, being very careful to keep this controlled as far as values go, because I want to make sure that I have room for highlights later. And if I don't leave the ability to introduce white as a highlight, then it won't have the same effect. So I want to make sure that I'm taking care to not go too light here. So let's see. Cool. Yep. I talk to my paintings. Do you talk to your paintings? Give them little words of encouragement, like, oh yeah, that's good. Good job. Oh yeah. I mean, you might think I'm encouraging myself, but really, am I? Or am I encouraging the painting itself? Yum. See that? That's nice. All right, I gotta stand up, take a gander at this ellipse and make sure it's not completely wonky. Yeah, it's pretty good. I picked it up, I went to a mirror and I took a look at it. It's pretty good along the back. The front is a little weird, but I already knew that. So, I'm pretty happy with this. I do want to excuse me, I need some more paint here. I do want to throw in my highlight, because again, I'm looking at the focal point first, right? So I'm going to bring that to as close to completion without being completely done as I can. That way, when I look at the rest of the painting, when I'm developing the rest of the painting, everything is in relation to this puppy right here. This is, the star of the show. So, yet another brush. And it is really just a tiny, 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 tiny. That's it. And I did. I left plenty of room for it. Proud of me. Excuse me. I want to soften it a little bit. So I'm going to leave the center and I'm going to soften the edges. Great. Nice sharp line. That's exactly what it needed to be. So now I want to come around to the front. Over here, this cast shadow, like I said, is really it's beautiful hot color with a little bit of reflected light from the lemons in here. So I'm gonna go looking like, there we go. I want to make sure that so when we talk about ellipses, what we mean, an ellipse is a squash circle. This is the circular opening of the cup. This is the circular plane of the tea. This is the circular plane, or the conical cone-shaped plane of the teacup. This is the circular saucer. All of these are in perspective, so none of them are total circles. They're all squashed. They're all ovals. This is an oval, this is an oval, da 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 da. Because of the way it's sitting, they need to be in perspective all the same way. They need to be symmetrical. They need to show you the viewer's viewpoint, and they need to be precise because it's a man-made object. So it's got man-made precision to it. And if you are looking at a teacup that does not have precision, you're gonna know. It'd just be very, very difficult to hide that. Unless you go into abstract or impressionist art where people aren't quite as rigid in their expectations. I feel like more yellow here. And then switching brushes. This is actually the lightest part. And this edge is kind of hard. I'm also going to make sure that this part of the teacup has more paint on the surface than the back part, thereby ensuring that, or enhancing the feeling that this is in front. That's nice. Okay. Is this? Let's refine this a little. So we get down to this part, the shadow is cooler than the shadow over next to the lemons because it doesn't have that reflected light from the lemons. If it's reflecting anything, it's reflecting the bowl of the spoon. How are we doing here? Pretty good. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There we go. Yep. That brown, pink, and ultramarine blue is pretty much my go-to gray these days. I just want to make sure that I add enough yellow ochre to get the warmth of the china. Very, very loosely I want to establish the design, but first I want to make sure that I see a round form here. I want to make sure that this looks to me like a cylinder, and then I can work on the design of the painted decoration. Okay. Because the decorations are also in perspective and moving from light to shadow, you know? Judging these things against each other is, is the lightest light light enough? Is the darkest dark enough? go do a lips check again. No shame in that. Yep. Be right back. Okay. I am back. Ellipses look pretty good. The bottom edge here is, or top edge, I suppose, is not exactly where I wanted. Is this peak, see how this plane is sort of cut off by the front edge of the cup? So this peak should be exactly on the horizontal with this peak, and you can see it's a little too low there. But I needed to make this a light shape anyway. There we go. So it's light there, and then it's darker back here to describe the top plane. Got all that? Okay. So there needs to be a darkest part of this cylinder, the deepest shadow, just right there. Okay. Let's have some fun with this design. Design is cute little floral pattern. So I'm going to start with the darkest part, the most contrasty part. That's like, oops, not there. No, that's not quite dark enough. Okay. Let's go. I want to keep this very, very loose. And don't forget to go lighter in the lights. This is actually about there. I've got some oil in my mixture here because I want this to kind of level into the surrounding paint. Kind of smoosh out. There we go. Just a happy little teacup with a little bit of a drawing on it, a little design here. I want this design to be low chroma. That's why I'm using like a million different colors to make it. There we go. Give yourself some oil. Nice. Some yellow. It's basically like a yellow frame, buttery yellow. And it's nice because it mimics the lemons a little bit. And then I want it to darken up, warm up a little bit as it goes into the shadows. You know, this has to be in perspective as well. Then there's a brownish frame around it. Here we go. First, I want to see it circle the rim. Getting darker on the dark side. Now, how much detail should I put in here? Not too much, man. If you put too much detail in here, well, I mean, you can. Obviously, you can. But spending all day painting the details on the rim of a teacup, that is not the most important thing. And the painting is actually not a great use of your Alla Prima time. But hey, if I had, you know, all day to do it, I might. This cute little green area, I really like this. There's another one over here, really like that. Yeah, that's got that nice English teacup feel to it. See, with the oil, this this detail work stays nice and brushy, nice and subtle. Cute little blue flowers there. All right. I'm afraid that my detail here, I pulled this a little bit out of its correct shape. I think it's all right. Not bad, huh? And then the highlight on the very, very, very front ridge. Okay. That gives you an idea. If you don't have that highlight in there, then you don't have a full sense of the color, the value distribution that you're really looking at. Ta-da. All right. Good. Let's handle this. Let's handle the handle. Other parts of this painting are going to go a little bit faster because they're not as mission critical. You know what I mean? Yeah. Notice that the upward facing plane of the handle is a little bit cooler. Just an observation. I mean, you know, probably could have kept that to myself, but I noticed it, so I said it. Yep. Yes. So I'm seeing, I'm just looking for shadows. So now I'm kind of moving on to the saucer and comparing is what I'm looking at. Lighter or darker, or, you know, what are we doing here? So I see this as being darker than, and bluer than the handle in front of it. And then don't forget that the shadows are very, very important for keeping the light correct. Let's draw this spoon a little bit more carefully. There we go. And as the cast shadow of the spoon climbs up the side of the saucer, it gets darker, right? There. I noticed that with a lot of Alla Prima paintings, the depth and the pizzazz of the shadows has a lot to do with how successful the painting is. For some reason, I'm concerned that I'm boring you. So don't forget to hit like and subscribe, but also don't forget that there are tools in YouTube that let you put a video at 2 times speed, so you can kind of watch it in fast motion until you get to something that you really want to slow down and pay attention to. Yeah. See, as things start to kind of come together, I get very excited. I can't help it. painting is just, you know, it's my job. It's my passion. It's like, other than my children, it's really the only thing in my life that just is always intriguing, exciting, rewarding, frustrating and confusing. Sure, also that. But there is just nothing like it, you know? I'm gonna have to switch from painting the saucer to painting lemons. Right now. Let's paint some lemons. I'm gonna go from dark to light. You know what, first, I'm gonna clean up what I'm doing. Make some room. Yellow ochre and a little bit of brown pink. Brown pink made by Gamblin. It is a high chroma, dark yellow red. And I need a little bit of oil because I want this to lay down in there. I'm going to throw in some green. Red. Yellow ochre. I keep calling it red. Brown pink. Yellow is a very, I mean, it's hard, right? Anybody who's painted yellow objects knows yellow is a complicated color to work with. So to keep things simplified, that's nice. I'm going to keep this loose. If I overwork it, high chance of failure. There we go. Each segment of this lemon is a slightly different value than the one before it. I'm just looking at the big shapes, and then I can bring it down a little bit. The flesh of the lemon is going to be a slightly lower chroma than the skin of the lemon. So when you're dealing with, you know, two different colors, and they have to sit right next to each other, and they have to be correct. So, you know, because this isn't some obscure fruit nobody's seen before. It's a lemon. Everybody knows what lemons look like. This final segment here is, oh, no, it's not right. Here we go. The lightest. Nice light touch. That's good. In the upper edge I see is, I want to keep that a hard edge so that it pops against the other slice of lemon that's behind it. You know, things with hard edges seem to sit in front. And that's the thing about Alla Prima painting, is you have to use everything you know about painting. How to mix colors, how to use warm and cool, how to use broken color, how to use edges in drawing in order to get the illusion that you want. I've got a little seed here. Hold up. I'm gonna twist the brush. I don't know if I like that yet, but hold on. I might. I'll give myself a second to think about it. And I want to see what happens when I finish the peel. This is where this, so cad yellow, this cad yellow, the green shade, is opaque, so it will sit up, it'll sit on top and reflect a good deal of light. Very, very important. I want to make sure this doesn't end up looking like an orange though. So there we go. So I get a new brush. Make sure I can control these colors without polluting them. Woohoo! There we go. Again, look at the drawing and make sure that this drawing is correct. Yeah, okay. Okay. Something I find about lemons is often they are not as bright as you think they are. They just have really, really significant highlights. But like I said, yellow is a complicated color to work with. Let's soften this. The pith, I usually find needs to be pretty understated. Meaning the white part that's behind the peel. Leave that. Woohoo. There we go. There we go. I just want to kind of just imply the sections. I don't want to get too crazy with it here because this can go from being successful to being a tragedy in a short period of time. Feel like this needs a little more. There we go. Okay. I want these to be, I want them to be the right value. Come on, baby, play with me. That's better. That's better. And then that's nice. Okay. That's nice. Yeah, those highlights do so much heavy lifting with regard to making sure that all the values play nice together. Phew. Okay. You know, while we're here, what's this bad boy doing? Right here. I want to keep this loose. Okay, now I'm moving away from my focal point. So everything else needs to be less dramatic than my focal point, right? That is very, very important. I feel like I don't love this brush. All right, we're gonna go yellow ochre, brown pink, a little bit of cad lemon. Give ourselves a nice okay. Okay, this actually needs to be scooshed over here. Alrighty. There we go. That's better. I'm gonna throw some green in there. Do I like this? I'm not sure. I feel like it's not where I want it to be. It's better. And then some yellow and just a smidge white to make myself a pith color. I feel like it's holding down the back edge here, but I need to see it in context to know if I like it. I'm not sure I do yet, but I'm gonna hold off on this part because it is less important. Cool. Spoon. Start with the dark values. Go again with these ellipses. Just a nice dainty spoon. I've already got a shadow underneath it. I want to make sure that it's dark enough. You can tell that I enjoy cleaning this part, right? Highlights are not white. Okay, they're going to be hard edged because they are on a hard object, but they're not white. So this is not, let's lay this in. Okay. First I want to start with my darker highlight. There's two of these, right? So there's a dull light here. Oops. There's a dull light on the front edge. And then there's a brighter light just in some places, like here. And here. And over here, you know what? It gets a little yellowy. It's picking up some of this lemon. And even if you never really see that, I know it's there. And I also know that the bowl of the spoon has a reflection in it. I feel like I want to bring this forward a little bit. Yeah. Easy. Okay, now I really love these lemons. Very, very much. I'm really happy with those. So, before I finish the leaves and the saucer, I want to take another look at the lace. Figure out how far I want to go with this to get this effect. Because I don't want the detail of the lace to overwhelm everything else in the painting. But right now I'm just really, really happy with this. I love this light. I feel like this is all very successful so far. So let's build up some values for the lace. I'm going to start with shadow. Get my shadows in here. And from there, I'll kind of walk up. Adding a little bit of oil, keeping everything loose. Now I've got my big brush out, yeah? I want to see some actual, like, a little bit of depth to some of these shadows. But I gotta keep them warm. So under the leaf, or where I know I'm gonna put the leaf, yeah, under the edge. Of the saucer. I think everything back here is in shadow, really. And if I make my light fall off a little bit more dramatic than what I'm actually looking at, I find that that's usually a forgivable sin. See, that lemon makes a lot more sense now. If I finish the background around it. Yeah. Let's keep this back edge nice and soft so that that plane goes away like it's supposed to. It doesn't pop up or pop forward. Now here I'm going to get a little bit lighter. Squinting, squinting, squinting. That is definitely a helpful practice. Squinting down to see the big shapes, the big values, the big changes. Okay. Now I need to see the light too. Let's get to some light. Keep this light a little bit cooler. Remember, cool light, warm shadow. Kind of loose. Loosely look for the shapes in the doily without going nuts with detail, because that will just, break your heart. And I think it's fair to add, a little bit of detail towards the end, once I'm making sure that I'm not jeopardizing my focal point. And right now I can't be sure, so I'm not gonna try. Right now, what I really need to do is just make sure that this looks like a table, and the table looks like it's got a plane that's like tipped back that way, and you got a sense of light coming in this way. That's my job. I don't want anything that I do to interfere with my job of convincing portrayal of a plane in space. In space. Ever watch that Miss Piggy Muppets in Space? Yep. Alrighty. So now that the background has had time to settle a little bit, just want to make sure that that it's doing its job. Yeah, see this nice, rich, dark back here? Really makes my focal point pop. And then here, just a touch of white to signify the front plane. You know, a little bit thicker paint. All right. Getting close to the end here, folks. So we're gonna do, oh, we really already did that. I want to see some lights. So we've got some light here. That is, what do you think? I think, whoops. Interesting. I'm just, I'm just finishing this saucer. Let it be a saucer. Not too much detail. I don't want to make it the star of the show by mistake. But now that I've done the tabletop, now it's time to, finish my work here. So we're gonna go cute. I actually see like a little bit of violet. So I'm gonna mix that up and put it in. Cute. Sorry. Yes, I know I say weird stuff. You're not the first person to notice that. Watch how this cup shape of the saucer turns toward the light here, and there will be another highlight right on the edge. So the brightest highlights are going to be over here, right? But I'm going to go ahead and put them in, and then I'll use another brush to knock them back. There. I really want this one to be the brightest. There. This is what I like about Alla Prima. I like this look of dreaminess. This to me is the way to go. I think one of the things that I want to do is kind of want to see about making this a little bit more soft. There we go. Okay. I'm kind of like toying with the idea of pulling it out entirely, but no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I'm not going to do that. Let it be. Okay. So leaves, I'm going to do the leaves, and that'll be kind of, we'll be coming to a close here. I'm going to see a little bit more of this shadow. Don't I? I think I do. Yeah. It's important to me to see these shadows at the right value. Okay, leaves. The dark, kind of brushing along the growth of the leaf to give it some of the texture that I want to have. And then when you come to the light side of the leaf, make sure that they are opaque pigments. Come on. Okay. So we're going to go cool lights. So we're going to take a little bit of blue in there and a little bit of white. Let's see where we are. That's nice. That's a nice gray. You seen it? I gotta change that background back. I don't like it. There we go. So this is like a rolled shape. Cool. And then one part of it is going to be the lightest part. Okay. I really like painting leaves, so I don't want to get too crazy with this, or I will just go completely overboard with detail. I know how I am. Each leaf is different too. Each leaf has a slightly different, they're like flowers, you know, they have a slightly different color palette. And then, but this back leaf needs to be deliberately less exciting because it's in the back. Now I can see that my shadow values are not where they need to be on the leaves. So let's try this again. I'm mixing alizarin crimson and sap green. Huh. Somebody's got a very loud stereo. That's okay. Now, but now that that's in, I can see where the work that I need to do on the tabletop. So let's give that a look. Mm-hmm. This shadow area needs soft edges. Yes. Which honestly I wish I'd done first. Maybe. But yeah, this is what I need to do to kind of push this fabric into being, you know, interesting. Here we go, getting closer. Yes. There we are. See that? That really helps. Okay. Honestly, I'm not sure that lemon. I think that lemon is like so circular that it is really messing up my composition here. So, goodbye, lemon. Adios. So instead, let's do this. One of my first videos, like forever and ever and ever ago, I was bringing on a lemon, as a matter of fact, I believe, lemon or an orange, and I just so annoyed with it, I just painted it out and changed the entire composition. It's my universe here, so I can do that. And this is gonna, oh yeah, that's so much stronger. See, this is going to help me resolve this corner. Just by letting it kind of fade into mists of memory back here. Yes. Okay. Which proposes a solution for the rest of the painting, right? Because if that makes sense, then all of this can be made subtle too. Yeah, baby. Yeah. So if these are my shadows, and I don't want to go too far with the shadows, because sometimes I can get, distracted and forget to put in the lights. Now I'm going to get to the light. Here we go. Because there's a pattern in here, I'm going to take this seriously. You'll notice the shape of the brush is doing some of the work. The way that it kind of separates. The bristles. Getting there. You know, how light is my lightest light? That's what I need to know. And where is it? And I think it's like right here. Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, last thing, I promise. I don't promise. Never mind. I take that back. You never know. Last thing I'm going to do is put that dark blue background back in. Because now I regret taking that out. So, ultramarine blue. And red. Brown pink, sorry. And black. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna, let's just go this way. First. And then, yeah, that'll give me the nice dark that I wanted in the first place. Just something that's very nice, very, very misty. So everything needs to lead to my focus. And now everything does. Oh, for Pete's sake. Are you out of your mind? Alrighty. Hold on. Happy? I think I am. Okay. So what I'm going to do is sign this puppy. I'm right here with my shaper. Just a little G. And that's all. Alla Prima, tea and lemon. I hope you enjoyed this. Please click like and subscribe. Ta-da! And we'll see you very, very soon. Thank you so much for joining me. Good night.